Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Sammasambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello, dear Dhamma friends. Welcome to the 17th day of our special Dhamma talk series with Venerable Panna Theri, lecturer on Theravāda Buddhist Meditation at Shan State Buddhist University in Myanmar. Please mark your calendar every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and 8 p.m. Sri Lanka and Indian Standard Time to get benefited more. Kindly check with Dhamma USA YouTube channel and Facebook pages for more updates. Today's topic is The Art of Mindful Living, Part 2. Kindly post your questions in the comment sections of our YouTube channels so that we can answer them at the end of the talk. Without further delay, let me invite Venerable Panna Theri to start her Dhamma sharing on The Art of Mindful Living, Part 2. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, thank you very much for your introduction. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening from Myanmar. May I express my sincere thanks for the excellent support provided by Dhamma USA in organizing these special events weekly. And let me pay respect to Bante Sumita, who has led and organized this event, and the organizers such as Mr. Suminda Dhammasena, who contacted me all the time to make this Dhamma talk possible. So thank you very much. Before we start Dhamma talk today, shall we do a silent meditation with mindfulness of breathing for about 2 minutes? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So today I'm going to give a Dhamma talk with the topic which is The Art of Mindful Living, Part 2. So the Art of Mindful Living, Part 1, I have conducted on 10th July last month. So this is Part 2. So here I have 4 parts. It's firstly, what does vedana mean in Buddhism? Second, types of vedana. And the third, the practice of contemplation of feelings, vedana nupassana in daily life. And fourth, Buddhist way of using fight or flight response. So the last one, the Buddhist way of using fight or flight response, this is my contribution, and this is my kind of exploration that we should apply these fight or flight methods to deal with our negative emotions. So firstly, the first part is, what does vedana mean in Buddhism? So vedana is translated as either feeling or sensation. That's we all know already, and it can be associated with both wholesome mind, unwholesome mind. So kusala chitta, akusala chitta, because this is the vedana is the manta factor, cetasika. So sabba chitta sarayana, the cetasika, so that it can be associated with both kusala chitta and akusala chitta. And here we should be very careful. Vedana and emotions are not the same. So vedana should not be defined as emotion. So emotion appears to be a complex phenomena involving a variety of concomitant mental factors. Oh, I think that we cannot see the slides fully. So, okay, I may have to share from the screen. Oh. I think that's the problem. Okay, I think I cannot share the slides. Excuse me, the host, can you see the slides?
No, Venerable, I can't see them. You have removed them.
Okay. I cannot see the slides fully. I will share the screen now.
Okay. You go to the share option at the bottom, Venerable, and
Yes.
upload the slides.
Okay, I think now it's okay. Can you see? Can you see the slides now? Okay, yeah, that's okay. Thank you. So we can see the full screen right now. Okay, so the emotion appears to be a complex phenomena involving a variety of concomitant mental factors. But vedana is the bare affective quality of an experience, so either pleasant, painful, or neutral. So that the vedana is just the bare affective quality. It's a mental factor. Then emotion is kind of like, it's more related with the cognitive process, like viti chitta. So that's the thing and vedana in the Buddhist literature, vedana is the second aggregate among the 5 aggregates, so vedana khandha. And among the 12 links of the dependent origination paticca samuppada, vedana is the 6th link. And among the 4 establishments of mindfulness, vedana nupassana is one of the methods. And vedana is universal mental factors, sabbaccitta sadharana cetasika. So this is the vedana in a Buddhism. So the Buddha gives similes, different kinds of simile of vedana in the Pali canon. Like, for example, in the Akasa Sutta, in the Samyutta Nikaya, the vedana is represented as a blowing winds from different directions. And Agara Sutta, in our Agara Sutta, various types of visitors from different directions. So every feeling does not stand still even for a second. So it shows that feelings are impermanent. And Pena Pindubama Sutta, still in a Samyutta Nikaya, so the Vedana, it shows us the bubbles, the simile, bubble simile on a water surface during rain. So these bubbles are also insubstantial and also without any essence. So it can appear and disappear right away. So we don't even have a chance to hold or grasp them. So Salata Sutta shows the arrow as the vedana, as the arrow simile. So this sutta offers the distinction of the perception towards dukkha or suffering that exists between a noble disciple and an ordinary person. So the types of vedana. So we all know there are 3 types of vedana by nature. Sukha vedana, pleasant feeling, or dukkha vedana, painful feeling, adukha sukha vedana, neither pleasant nor painful. So in the Vedana Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya mentioned that the 4 establishments of mindfulness are to be developed for the fuller understanding of these 3 feelings. So we need to practice Satipaṭṭhāna to understand fully of these 3 kinds of feelings. So this is the important message given by the Vedana Sutta. So there are 3 types of feelings, okay? Simply we can say happy feeling, unhappy feeling, neither happy nor unhappy feeling. In terms of body and mind, there are 2 types of feeling. Feelings arise in body, kayika vedana. Feelings arise in mind, cetasika vedana. So feelings in the body, kayika vedana, we can see here, bodily pleasant. Sometimes we feel comfortable and then we feel relaxed. So it is called is the kayika sukha vedana. And sometimes we feel painful in body. So it's kayika dukkha vedana. And neutral feelings, sometimes we don't have any good or bad feelings. So it's neutral feeling in the body. So it's upekha vedana. Similarly, we have mental feelings, cetasika vedana, also 3 types. Is happy feelings, sometimes we feel happy. So it's cetasika sukha vedana. And unhappy feeling or mental pain like stress, depression, grief, lamentation, anxiety, all are unhappy feelings. That is, we call cetasika dukkha vedana. And sometimes we have neutral feeling in mind, so it's upekha vedana. So the 3rd part, the practice of contemplation of feelings, vedana nupassana, in daily life. So in daily life, previously in my part, the Art of Mindful Living, part 1, I have also mentioned about this. When you, in your daily life, we can be mindful, we can practice mindfulness at any time, anywhere, any posture. So while we are lying down in bed, also we can check our feelings. We can practice vedana nupassana, the contemplation of feelings. So when you wake up, then you can just check the feelings in your body or in your mind. Or am I happy? Or am I unhappy? Or am I experiencing neutral feeling? Or am I feeling tense in my body? Or am I so painful in my body, like that? So you can check pleasant, painful, and neutral feeling when you wake up at your wake up time. Similarly, you can check your feelings while you are brushing teeth and washing face. Or am I happy right now? Or am I unhappy right now? Or am I having a neutral feeling right now? So you can check your feelings. So while you're eating breakfast or lunch, or while you're changing dress, getting dressed, while you're walking, so you can check your feeling. Just check your feeling. And while you're driving, talking to someone, using phone, or in the full posture, sitting posture, walking, standing, and lying down. So you can check at any posture. It means that if you check your feeling, it means that you are practicing vedana. You are contemplating the feelings in your body and in mind. So right now, you can try to pause yourself. Maybe we can practice Vedanānupassana together. And you can pause yourself right now for a while and check. What are you experiencing right now? You may ask to yourself, what am I knowing now? Am I knowing numbness in body? Or am I knowing the pain in knees and waist? Or am I feeling happiness in mind, or peace in mind, or sadness, or boredom, or impatience in mind? You can just check. Pause yourself for a while, slow down yourself for a while, and you can check your feelings in body and mind. So this is very simple job, but if you practice day by day, month by month, then you will get a lot of benefits out of it. So this is the way of mindful living in your daily life. So here I like to propose this very useful Buddhist way of using fight or flight response. So in the Western psychology, there is fight or flight response as well, but it's a little bit different from the Buddhist way. So I explained later about that. So in a day, we may have good and bad feelings. Sometimes day by day, we may have good and bad days as well. So we need to permit ourselves to feel sad or to feel happiness. So we realize good and bad days are both a normal part of our lives. So our life is combined with good and bad things, and good and bad days, happy and unhappy days. This is the nature of our life. So we need to permit ourselves to feel good or bad. The Buddha said, we are getting what we don't want to get. Sometimes we are not getting what we want. So if we don't get what we want, or if we are getting what we don't want, then we feel unhappy. When we are getting what we want, then we are happy. So this is the nature of the human being. So from that bad experiences, we have kind of different negative emotions. For example, when we have the lots of loved one, or lots of our job, or lots of health, something like that, and we feel grief, Soka. And if we cannot control, if we cannot manage our Soka or grief, then it goes on to another level. It's lamentation, Parideva. then despair, upayasa. So it's go on and go on. Then despair and depression, we have depression, something like that. So we have sometimes phobia with sadness. These are the negative emotions or painful feelings, painful mental feelings that we used to experience or encounter in our daily life. So the Roga Sutta mentioned that painful feelings, or there are two types of illness. It's a physical illness and mental illness. So painful feelings are dominassa vedana. So these are the mental illnesses. So we call it cetasika roga. So how we can apply the fight or flight response for our mental illness? So in contemporary psychology, fight or flight response refers to an automatic physiological reaction. This is the physical reaction to an event that is perceived as stressful or frightening. So this is the body's natural response. And in Buddhist psychology, it's a little bit different. The fight or flight response is a psychological reaction to physiological and psychological pains. So this is the psychological response. So it's not the physiological response. This is from our mind, is mental reaction towards the physiological or physical pain or mental pain. So here I like to propose the way to practice fight or flight response by using Vedana. So when you practice the Vedana, then you can try to develop your mindfulness. So for example, you have sadness in mind, then you can just focus on your sadness, which is painful feeling. Then you can just focus, try to be aware of your sadness at the present moment. And you can just note that feeling as feeling. This is very important attitude. We must have the right attitude when we practice the Satipaṭṭhāna or the Vedana. Feeling as feeling. Painful feeling as painful feeling. Not I feel or not my feeling. Oh, I am so sad. So we have to avoid I, me, my. Feeling is just the feeling. So at the early stage, it may be a little bit difficult for you to contemplate on mental feelings because they are subtler than physical pain. Physical pains are really significant and easy to notice, but mental pain sometimes it's not very easy. Sometimes it's very subtle. So there are two responses, there are two methods that you can use when you practice Vedana. Firstly, while you're practicing Vedana, so you may have kind of the physical pain or mental pain arise. Then if you can tolerate the pain, then you can use the fight response. You just keep on noticing your pain, your painful feeling. Maybe while you're meditating, after a few minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, then you can start feel the pain in your knees or waist or your shoulders like that. Then if you can check your resilience, if you can tolerate it, no problem. You can just go on, practice Vedana, the contemplating of feelings. Or for example, maybe you have sadness in mind, then you can check yourself, your resilience yourself. Then if you can tolerate, okay, just pay attention to that pain. The most important thing is you have to try to understand the pain, not just noting the pain, not just being aware of the pain. You should try to understand the cause of the pain, and then also the nature of the pain, and the cessation of the pain. So this is the wisdom, this is the panya. But if you cannot tolerate the pain is so intense, or you have so intense sadness or grief, or you have very intense pain in your body and you cannot tolerate, then you can use the flight response or flight method. So in Pali, we call vedana vikambhaitava. It means that you do not pay attention to the pain and you just change the meditation object. So firstly, your object is the pain. Vedana. Vedana is your meditation object because you're practicing vedana nupassana. But vedana vikambhaitava means you cannot tolerate. You're using the flight method, so you just try to flight from the pain. So you ignore the painful feeling, then you change the meditation object. For example, you may try to focus at the tips of the nostril, and then you can start practicing mindfulness of breathing instead of mindfulness of feeling. So this is called flight response. So there are many cases in the Buddhist literature. I have chosen 2 cases. Mahātera in the Chitala mountain, he used the fight response in his serious sickness. So in the Mahaveka Atthakatha, the Mahātera, who resided in the Chitala mountain, suffered from the serious sickness. So he used fight response by contemplating, feeling its vedana nupassana, and then he fought and tolerated the painful feelings, and then he broke up into the vedana into segments. These segments part by part or bit by bit. Then at last he realized that there was no one who was suffering, who was experiencing the pain. Therefore, he was not overwhelmed by the painful feeling. So he just understands that feeling is just the feeling. Feeling is the nature. So that when he realized that, he was not overwhelmed by the painful feeling, and finally he attained the arahantship by practicing vedana nupassana. So he used the fight response. So another case is a young monk used a fight response and did not pay attention to painful feeling. The same in the Mahaveka Atthakatha. Mentioned that there are groups of 30 groups, the 30 monks who resided and practiced meditation in the forest. So a young monk from that group was beaten by a tiger one night. Then at that moment, he did not pay attention to painful feeling arising in his mind and body. Then he used the flight response, vedana vikambhaitava. He did not pay attention to the pain, and he kept on practicing Vipassanā, then not practicing vedana nupassana. At last, he attained arahantship as well. So the sub-commentary clarifies that it was not paying attention to painful feeling, means we can call it atmanasikara, not paying attention, atmanasikara, and that young man used flight response. So how shall we tackle mental pains in our daily life? We used to have painful experiences and negative emotions in daily life. For example, the frustration during the meeting, or depression at home, or sometimes broken heart, like we feel grief, lamentation, and despair. Soka, Parideva, lots of loved one. So then we need to check our negative emotions in our daily life, wherever you are or whatever you are doing. For example, in your meeting, and you can just pause yourself for a while. Am I angry right now? Is my mind not tranquil right now? Something like that. So here I'm giving some tips. Maybe you can ask to yourself questions. Am I depressed? Am I experiencing grief? Am I happy right now? Or is the mind tranquil right now? So you can oftenly check your emotions in your daily life. If you have the strength and you can tolerate the negative emotion, then you can use fight response. Fight response means you just try to look at your emotion, either negative or positive. If it's negative emotions or painful emotion, then you confront the feeling with awareness. Then it is very important to accept it. This is the nature. The painful, sometimes we have bad days, sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have bad feelings, sometimes we have good feelings. So this is the nature. So we have to accept it. This is right attitude. Then we try to understand the nature of the vedana, nature of our emotions and our mind and body. So this is insight or wisdom. But if you don't have strength, you should not force yourself. If you cannot tolerate the negative emotion, you should not force yourself. If you keep on forcing yourself, your pain becomes bigger and bigger. Your anger becomes bigger. You try to suppress it, then it's bounce back. You try to press it, it's bounce back. So you try to suppress your unhappiness or sadness or anxiety or depression. You try to suppress it, then it bounces back, it becomes bigger. So at that moment, you should be very careful and I don't have strength. My body is weak and my mind is weak. I cannot tolerate the negative emotion or the depression. Then you should use the flight response. Just don't focus on the painful feeling. Just don't focus on your depression, and just do the other good activities that can suit you and rebuild your mental strength again. For example, you can use the counting beats method, or you can do anapana, breathe in, breathe out for a while. Or maybe if you like chanting, you can do chanting. But sometimes if you have very, very intense grief or depression, you may not be able to do these kinds of things. So don't worry. You can share your feelings with your close friends, or maybe you can do yoga or physical exercises to suit your feeling and rebuild your mental strength. So this is flight response. So here I like to remind that flight response does not stand for running away from the problem. Although a practitioner flies or flees from painful feelings, dukkha vedana that arise in body, kayika vedana, or in mind, cetasika dukkha vedana, or kayika dukkha vedana, or cetasika dukkha vedana. But the flight doesn't mean it's not running away from that problem. That's not the end. So you can continue the practice for the development of awareness, sati, or concentration, samadhi, and comprehension of those feelings, panya. So it means that practically this technique intends to use 5 options to fight back the pain through the uninterrupted practice. So it means that you does not stop the practice. You keep going on your practice, but you just not pay attention to your pain. It doesn't mean that you stop and you give up the practice. It's not the way. You keep on practicing, but you cannot tolerate. That's why you just forget about those feelings, those painful feelings. Then you are trying, you are using the alternative ways, the other options. Then you will come back and fight that pain, and you will come back and try to understand that pain. So this is the way of flight response, what I am saying here. So I like to suggest you all to be mindful at any time, anywhere, any posture. So there are benefits of mindful living. Though many research confirm that mindful living is beneficial for emotional regulation, or major depressive disorder, or anxiety disorder. These are the mental disorder, mental disease. So mindfulness is beneficial for those mental disorders. So this is really great thing that we should have motivation with that. And mindfulness-based interventions, there are like MBSR or MBCT. Those are really famous in these days. And mindfulness-based intervention has been found to decrease relapse or recurrence of depression. So if you have depression, then you should practice mindfulness, or you should live mindfully in your daily life. So here, the medical news today in 2016 mentioned that mindfulness meditation helps to control emotions. So we can, if we practice mindfulness meditation, we can control our negative emotions. And this is recently issued on the 14th July 2022. So medical news today said mindfulness meditation changes how the brain processes and perceive pain. So we can see here our brain setting can be changed by the mindfulness meditation. So the Buddha also mentioned in the Mahāsī Sutta in Digha Nikaya the benefits of mindful living. So it states that the Satipaṭṭhāna, the four Satipaṭṭhāna, is the direct way, ekayano, the right way that leads to overcoming mental sufferings, such as Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa. So it's grief, lamentation, physical pain, mental distress, despair, etc. So the Buddhist practice of vedana Vipassanā, by using fight or flight response, can be a pragmatic solution to the mental illnesses in this modern day. So I like to remind you again, try to be mindful, try to check your feelings. You may ask yourself a very simple question. What am I knowing now? What am I feeling now? Am I happy right now? Am I peaceful right now? Or am I sad? Or am I feeling pain in mind? Or just try to know. So this is very simple job, but you will have a great benefit out of it. So please be mindful at anytime, anywhere, any posture. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your listening. And this is the end of my Dhamma talk. If you have any questions, okay, you can raise your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Venerable Panna Theri, for this profound speech on the art of mindful living. I'm sure all our Dhamma friends around the world were benefited today. Dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, we will take up your questions now. And we encourage you to post your questions in simple language through the Dhamma USA YouTube channels. Venerable, let me check if there is any question. And there is one. There's a Dhamma brother who has said, Pali language PDF book need. Could you recommend any book, Venerable? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Pali language book or its grammar, Pali grammar, means that he wants to study Pali grammar.
It's not clear. It's only Pali language PDF book need.
Okay, normally what I use is we have the what to call 6 Buddhist councils, the print, that is the Tipitaka. It's in Pali, so you can if you want to read the suttas in Pali, then you can read, or if you want to use in your language or in English, then you can study the suttas or the suttas in the suttacentra.net. This is very useful website. If you want to study Pali grammar, there are many Pali grammar books written in English by the Sri Lankan authors. So one of the books I remember is Pali Made Easy. I hope you can download from internet. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. There don't seem to be any more questions. So with that, we conclude today's Dhamma sharing and look forward to meeting you with more insightful Dhamma sharings in the coming weeks. Let's keep our palms together close to our hearts and pay respect to Venerable Panna Theri with 3 sadhus. May you always be well, happy and healthy, dear Venerable. Sabbityo vivajjantu, sabba rogo vinasatu, mate bhavatvantaraayo, sukhe digayuko bhava. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. See you again next week at the same time. Good night and Theravāda Saranai.
Thank you very much.